I think this tree is your twin.
Madeline hums, her voice soft in a way that only she seems to manage, as though she were competing with a whisper of wind. We lie together on a moth-eaten blanket, spread over wild grass. I shift, angling my gaze toward her, and try not to think of the flowers that lie crushed beneath our weight as I breathe in air heavy with their scent, hearing the stretch and snap of stems smothered beneath my head as I look her way. Her face is turned up, wide, brown eyes fixed on the tree we are sprawled under, ever-curious mind working at the wonder of the world. I turn my gaze upward once more and smile into the reaching branches. The gnarled trunk is wide and long. Cut-off stumps of branches jut out of the trunk from all sides as stalwart salutes to fallen arms. One arm hangs low, heavy nettle-like leaves dragging the bow down, attempting to palm the earth. The other branches are tucked high and away from the ground, hidden within a vast complication of green and brown leaves warring for dominance. Though it is firmly spring, brown is winning.
Do you see it?
Madeline asks, shifting to look over at me. My gaze slides along the grainy trunk, searching for what she might be seeing. A face or form shaped in the slant and curve of the crumpled tree bark. Auntie always tells me not to humor her. Says she'll grow up crooked if we don't set her straight. Even though I say she'll grow up fine, Auntie tells me I'm not a mama, so I don't know what's right. Says the world's not kind to bright little girls. It drives Auntie crazy that most times, Madeline's voice is so soft a person's ears can't quite catch the words as they float away. I'm never too bothered, caught up in the moment and the magic of her voice. I know it's right, letting a kid be a kid, letting her be soft and bright for as long as she can manage. Auntie and the teachers at school would always tell her to speak up. Her daddy would tell her she spoke fine because a woman didn't need to be heard anyway. I never asked her to repeat herself. I read somewhere once that each moment is a new future we miss when grasping at a lost one, so whether I understand Madeline's hushed voice or not, the moment will slide by into the sea of moments that make up life. This is not one of those lost moments. The field is empty save us, hundreds of flowers, and the tree shading us. Here, among the wildest things, the humid air stands still. I hear her clearly. But I see nothing in the tree that looks like me, so I shake my head and sit up. My sweat-damp shirt peels away from the blanket as I stretch. It's nearing supper, and we'll need to head in soon.
You don't see it?
She says in that same sighing voice as she sits up next to me. Madeline closes her eyes and stretches her arms up toward the tree, as though she expected it to bow down toward her, creaking and groaning its protests as it uses its branches to lift her up. The tree does not move. Madeline opens her eyes and shifts her body so that she's holding her arms open to me. I stand and wrap my arms around her, pulling her to her feet. She walks to one edge of the blanket and picks up its end. I do the same on my end and we begin to fold.
Trees are animals.
She tells me solemnly.
They're part of the animal kingdom, like humans and lions and toads.
I smile and nod. I don't think she's right, but I don't know what is, so I let her be.
Look how this one fights to live. It's just like you.
I stop folding the blanket and stare at her. She doesn't pause, pulling her two ends together and avoiding my gaze as she walks towards me to complete the fold. When I don't raise my end to meet hers, she lowers her side of the blanket.
I know you're sick.
Her gaze is on her fingers as they toy with the fraying ends of the blanket. She bites her lip and frowns in a way I've rarely seen her do before.
I heard Auntie say the family can't afford treatment.
She says the last part even more softly than usual, but I hear her. The air remains still. No rustling leaves or grass could snatch up the sound. I let the blanket fall to the ground and walk away. I hear her drop her end as well and scuttle after me, bare feet pushing through the thick tangle of grass. I move faster, knowing her shorter legs would have a hard time catching up, and that if I go fast enough, her voice won't catch me, won't take hold of me, won't wrap around me like the sickness has, stealing away into my liver and kidneys, eating me alive with its rot, tearing into me with a quiet that imitates Madeline. Dying is supposed to hurt, but this doesn't. The doctors say that it will start to hurt, but it hasn't yet. Auntie says that there's no way to fight it without medicine, but Madeline calls me a fighter anyway. I'm not old enough to be finished with living. I am too old to cry, so I don't. I'm old enough to know that life isn't fair, so I deal. And I run away from Madeline until the wind picks up and steals her voice away.